Inyanga indai horera Amakeni horla kungare Western Nyota TV liraganje ni Elkana Khainga. Urangane na Amakeni ka Kisumu. Gavana wa Homa Bay Gladys Wanga ahani iruhusa komisala jiti milioni 20 kutia rumiha mutisivitari tia Homa Bay. Ronyana manyishi kwa reporteru abere Homa Bay.
This batch is especially for our lower level dispensaries that were not able to get the same drugs from KEMSA. And I want to thank Your Excellency for the support in ensuring that this was done very expediently.
We were committed to ensure that the drugs are availed to each and every facility. We don't want to see patients being sent away to go and buy drugs from the private chemists. We want all our clients to be attended to, get drugs within the facilities.
Remember when we had KEMSA drugs which were flagging off, which were worth about 60 million Kenya shillings to all our facilities, we said there were some drugs that were not in the KEMSA order that we were expecting from meds, and we're happy that this has now come through. And so our facilities should be able to have medication, a wide range of medication to be able to serve the public. So what I can say to our health facilities when they receive the medication, take care of the medication. Take care of the medication. These drugs are expensive. Let's take care of them and let each and every person who comes into contact with the drugs ensure that they reach the person they're supposed to reach. So that is my single most advice. I'd also like to say that we are very, very serious about our healthcare in Homa Bay. We are extremely serious. I want to welcome our new CC for Health to work with her entire team to be able to ensure that this dream becomes a reality. On the part of resources, we will try as much as possible to allocate. You know that we found a debt that we had with KEMSA of over 100 million. We've been trying to reduce that debt, which we have done to a reasonable levels. We'll continue to reduce it until we finish it. So if a facility is still sending people out, a level 4 facility, those are the sub-county facilities. If they are still sending people out to go and look for gloves, to go and look for sindano, we want to get that report from you. And we have a number here at the referral. We are going to send that number to all the facilities, at least the level 4 to start with, so that we're able to get reports as to whether it's a grievance reporting mechanism, where if people feel happy, they can report. But if people also feel they have not been treated well, they can also report, so that we can take action as a team.
Ifamili y'abanyolo izire hoyanza uongozi wa rais wa Kenya Mwami Daktari William Samoei Ruto ukurobola bami horula mu maeneo kenako huli Daktari Omolo Nende Edward Owala. Ronyamanyisha hola reporteru abere maeneo kenako.
Since he started forming and constituting his government, the president has shown even more and deliberate efforts to have the people of Luo Nyanza in critical leadership positions in his government, including through the appointment of Mr. Eliud Owalo as Cabinet Secretary for ICT and Mr. George Ngonga Makgoi as Chief of Staff to the Deputy President, as well as the recent nomination of Dr. Raymond Omolo as Principal Secretary for Interior and National Administration and Mr. Alfred Kombudo as Principal Secretary for Trade. These are critical positions that, if used well, can be catalysts for meaningful change, not only in Nyanza region, but in the entire country. Ladies and gentlemen, it is evidently clear that the president, in a true demonstration of statesmanship, is embracing a demographic that did not support his candidacy. This should inspire the Luo community to rethink our political relationships and posturing going forward, and fully rally behind the president and his team for the greater good of the country. The appointment of these young Luo professionals is inspiring in so many ways. They represent the most competent, hardworking, and intelligent young people in the Luo community in particular, and Kenya in general. They have a solid track record in their past professional engagements, a history of work ethic and perfection. As Principal Secretary for Internal Security and National Administration, Dr. Omolo is easily the most visible and first among equals, noting that his docket is arguably the most powerful and influential among government ministries. The appointment places Dr. Omolo among the top 3 most powerful and influential individuals outside the presidency. Dr. Omolo's appointment is as inspiring as it is symbolic. It perpetuates a trend by the president to show faith in young talents and is a remarkable departure from the traditional fascination with the old guard in previous regimes. Dr. Omolo is the youngest person to ever hold the position of Principal Secretary for Interior in the history of independent Kenya. While Dr. Omolo's appointment will restore faith in the values of hard work and meritocracy and inspire dreams and ambition among young people anywhere else in the country, for the Luo community, it's hugely symbolic, considering that the last Luo to hold that position was the late Hezekiah Oyugi Ogango. Dr. Omolo's appointment is hugely consequential from whichever perspective you look at it. Firstly, it symbolizes a departure from a system that rewards chronism and dynasties to a reward system based on hard work and merit. Any young Luo hustler can work hard and aspire to represent their country at the highest level, regardless of their surnames. It is symbolic also in the sense that Dr. Omolo, Mr. Owalo, Mr. Magoe, and Mr. Kombudo represent the new face of leadership of the Luo nation in a dramatic shift from the traditional thinking. We are placing more faith in young and competent professionals, not politicians, in the traditional sense to spearhead our development agenda. We now realize that when the president proclaimed his manifesto for Luo Nyanza, it was not mere rhetoric. He meant it. Dr. Omolo, Mr. Walo, Mr. Magoe, and Mr. Kombudo are our doorbells to the president's house. When we wish to remind His Excellency the President to follow up on his premises, we merely need to send any of these brothers to him, and we are confident that we will get his ears. We wish to express our sense of pride in our brothers who have been appointed to these high and prestigious positions in government and reassure them of our unrelenting, unwavering, and unconditional support. Most importantly, we wish to rally our community to embrace their sons as their representatives in government and give them the necessary goodwill and blessings that they require to excel in their respective mandates. We recognize that their mandates are of a national nature and that the rest of the country, and not just Luo Nyanza, is relying upon them to put in the shift to change lives. Finally, we thank Dr. Omolo, Mr. Owalo, Mr. Magoe, and Mr. Kombudo for inspiring young people from the traditionally politically marginalized region to also believe, to dream, and to be ambitious. Through their appointments, we begin to write a new chapter on how we relate with the government going forward. We will no longer be a pariah community politically, but equal stakeholders among the communities that constitute this great republic. We congratulate them heartily as they embark on the onerous but noble task as change agents to positively change lives in our country. May I conclude by wishing God's grace to the President, government, and the people of this great Republic of Kenya.
Gavana wa Siaya Mwami James Orengo aboli rais shibala sha Kenya Daktari William Ruto atsiritse kumeta mateni kilwanyi shibala sha Kenya. Onyama nyishi hono reporteru avere Siaya.
Hivi bila kuogopa, serikali ya Ruto imechukua mtindo ya kuchukua madeni na madeni zaidi. Ameeleza kwamba wafanyikazi lazima waendelee kulipa pesa za NSSF na NHIF, walipe zaidi kushinda wakati ambao kulipa zile pesa tulikuwa tunalipa awali. Na yeye anasema hivyo ya kwamba wafanyikazi walipe, na mishahara bado ziko duni. Hakuna nyongeza ya mshahara. Katika ile mshahara yako ndio anasema lazima iongezwe 6%. Lazima wananchi waelewe ni kwa nini amefanya hivyo. Wamechukua madeni China, wamechukua madeni Ulaya, na wamechukua madeni katika banki hizi zetu. Sasa hakuna mahali ya kuchukua deni. Wameona kwamba zile pesa mtalipa. Hizo pesa ndio Ruto anataka serikali ikopeshe ifanye nayo kazi. Na hapo awali, we have seen when the government is raiding provident funds like NSSF, like NHIF, the government is the one raiding those funds. When you retire, you want to claim your money from NSSF. To get it is like getting blood out of a stone. But now we are giving Ruto money to borrow, and that money you are not sure that is going to be paid back to the workers. We've got to be very careful. Ruto, you promised that you needed 100 days. We are not going to wait for 1 year. Na sasa zetu hatuwezi kungojea mwaka nzima, hata miaka miwili, miaka mitatu, miaka mitano. Wewe ukifanya makosa, ni kama mimi nikifanya makosa Siaya. Makosa zangu lazima zikosolewe sasa hivi, si kesho. Kwa hivyo sisi tunasema ya kwamba serikali mchukua usukani, mkasema mnaweza, na tunasema ya kwamba kama mlisema mnaweza, tayari Kenya Airways zimegoma, tayari bei ya unga bado iko juu, tayari mishahara bado ziko duni. Sasa ni kitu gani ambayo mnasema mama boga atapata vile ulisema? Kwa hivyo mimi nasema bila kuogopa ya kwamba serikali hii wa Kenya, the people of Kenya should know that we are going in for hard times. The dollar is rising at a rate which even the countries of the north are feeling the pressure. And I know the countries of the south like Kenya are going to find it more difficult. So we don't want austerity on top of austerity. We want solutions so that the lives of the people can get better but not get worse. Maga adum kange ne wantie. Donga wantie. Donga wantie. Wadwa tiyo yomakare kendo muwinjire kendo wanga gwambo chakre gukinyi nyaka godhiambo. Erukamano Nyasaye mondo beko.
Rais w'ishibala shia Afrika imilambo Mwami Cyril Ramaphosa amaliye kuinjira mu shibala sha Kenya ku ishughuli rasmi Nende. Rais w'ishibala sha Kenya Mwami Daktari William Samoei Ruto. Runyamanyishi rola kupoteru abere maeneo Kenya. Governor wa Trans Nzoia Mwami Natembea avoli zi project zachakitsua mu county yeneyo yenya humanyani mateni kanga Kenya kana hurungwa ni county yeneyo. Kunyamanyishi yono reporteru avere maeneo ki county ya Natembea.
Projects for instance in this county that have taken over 1.6 billion shillings to construct for the last 10 years. And they still have pending bills to be paid. So when are we going to end this? Are we going to do a 5 billion project in Trans Nzoia? So we have to check what really happened and what needs to be done. It's for purposes of guidance on the way forward. But they weren't paid. So when you ask them how much pending bills you have at the department, they give a figure which is not correct. When those wages are returned now, they adjust the figure. we want to get the final report from this task force on the actual amount of valid and genuine, eligible, pending bills, not stories. Bills that are supported by government documents, that work was done, or supplies were delivered, and that it was value for money, as I've said. Then we'll have an exact estimate of the pending bills that we have as Trans Nzoia. It is this darkness I keep talking about. Did we really have a government? If the entire government up to now, nobody can tell you this is the amount of pending bills. It's a figure. It's 3 billion and 3 billion. It's not. You ask today, it's 3.5 billion, it's 2.8 billion. It keeps going up and down, because there was a certain chaos that were created at the Department of Finance. It looks chaotic, but when you examine further, there's some order in those chaos. Meaning somebody is managing this thing. Yeah, you create chaos and want to manage because you thrive in those chaos. We want to unearth all these skills. Haya makosa ambayo yalifanyika na mtu ambaye alipewa majukumu kufanya kazi kwa sheria, akaenda kinyume cha sheria, akafanya mambo yake, na ndiposa tuko kwenye hili janga. Kwa hivyo ikipatikana kweli kabisa huyu mtu alitakana kufanya hiki, umetengeneza vocha ya kulipa KEMSA kwa mfano, umeitisha pesa kutoka kwa control of budget, amepeana idhini kwamba hizo pesa zilipwe KEMSA, pesa zikuja kwa account, badala ya kulipa KEMSA unalipa mtu mwingine, umetumia madaraka vibaya, umetumia mamlaka vibaya. Kwa hivyo hii kamati pia iko na jukumu la kutueleza ni nani alifanya makosa haya na aliyafanya vipi, na katika siku za usoni tutaweza namna gani kuzuia makosa kama hayo kufanyika. Na njia moja ya kuzuia makosa hayo kufanyika ni wale ambao walifanya ile makosa kuchukuliwa hatua za kisheria.
Yako kakaweza Amakeni hurula wangare Western Nyota TV. Zirabulanda pindi byose bingangare Western Nyota TV. Nende social media platform ziosi ubenu nyola manyishi. Nakumarira Amakeni marani luchero lubola nomba injero ibolako. Shikulia shiri mungu buyo. Shikulia shiri mungu buyo. Imanisha hili. Imanisha ko mutikuo wo ni umenyiza naye. Na yama nikulu jenda, na yama nikulu ya nyakutu shirako akhole likuwa. Ulimundu wa maana sana, obeni nyangindai nyesaye akulinde. Lilo ni Elkana Khainga, obeni nyangindai.